Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. This is live show number 1200. Yes, this is the 1200th live stream that I have hosted. And we're going to be celebrating. I will be giving some goodies away. So keep watching live because that is an important aspect of getting into the running for those goodies. So once again, welcome aboard. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then a lot of times I'll take a look at a game, might unbox a board game like we did last night, or page through a role-playing game book like we shall be doing tonight, because we're going to dive on in and take a look at the core rulebook for Paranoia from Mongoose, I almost said Press, Publishing. There's something floating past in the corner here. I was like, what is that? Yes, from good old Mongoose Publishing. We're going to dive on in to check out the latest edition's core rulebook. So stay tuned for that. If you are tuning in because you want to see the first look at Paranoia, do want to let you know that we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it's probably going to be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get into that. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. If you're watching after the fact, maybe even on Memorex, there are timestamps. They are found in the show notes. And of course, timestamp might also be in the timeline of the video right in front of you, depending on the device you happen to be watching this on. So if you want to jump right into that first look, you certainly can do so. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. You must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 minutes before you can take part in chat. And yeah, it's one of the ways that keeps some of the more unusual commenters at bay. Plus, being a subscriber tonight is going to work in your favor because that is one of the prerequisites for the giveaways. So there you have it. All right, first out the gate tonight is Sean O'Donnell. Roger Perdome's with us, as is DB, scenes by Omnic, Troy Cornelson, Pete Strakulich, Mike Cthulhu, Chris D, Tessie Trekkie, Semper. Did I say Semper Buffo? No, I think, no. That, I think, is the first appearance of Semper Buffo. He's usually one of the first to chime in chat. So that's why I'm saying that. And Wallona's Cave is with us, as I see Spelling Mistake and Shozama85 are also hanging with the gang tonight. Very nice. Very nice. So welcome aboard for live stream number 1200. And I will be revealing how to get into the running for the giveaways. Well, I'll tell you what. tell you right now, I will let you know what you'll need to do to be in the running here. Super easy. Must be a subscriber. You have to take part in chat tonight. Okay? So if you do not take part in chat, you will not be in the running for the giveaways. And you'll feel sorry. I will mention that once again after we tackle the news. Now, if you're one of those folks who watches on Memorex all the time, at the end of the video, I have a special treat for you. So I'm not going to be leaving those folks out who, just because maybe they live halfway across the world and they religiously watch the show, they just can't watch live. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to spread some joy to them as well. Sweet. All right. So now that I've mentioned that, let's jump on into the news, because following a successful crowdfunding run, Beadle Grimms has released Faster Purple Worm, Everybody Dies, Volume 1 in print and PDF. I've got the scoop. Not all heroic tales end heroically. One-shot adventures for a party of first-level characters. Based on the TV show Faster Purple Worm, Kill Kill on the Dungeons & Dragons Adventures channel. Okay, time out for a second. Is that really considered a TV show? I don't think the Roku channel is considered like a network, right? Because if that's the case, I'm going to just start calling this a TV show, right? Because you could conceivably be watching it on your TV. Regardless, each of these thrilling one-shot adventures is designed to give your players a wild ride on the way towards their inevitable demise. Like the rest of us, these characters are doomed to die, but that doesn't mean they can't have some fun along the way. Every new group of first-level adventurers dreams of a long adventuring career, full of daring victories and noble glory. But what about the ones that don't make it? For every lucky hero, there are a dozen unfortunate ones who open the wrong door, take on the wrong quest, or challenge an epic monster far beyond their abilities. Really? In Dungeons & Dragons? I don't know about that. Everybody Dies Volume 1 is your chance to live those courageously tragic lives for an hour or two. Each of the 15 stories inside this book features a group of novice adventurers who, through a series of unfortunate events having nothing to do with Lemony Snicket, end up facing a legendary creature from the history of Dungeons & Dragons. The dire but often hilarious tales that result contain the fun, drama, and camaraderie of a classic D&D adventure, but all contained in a single game night. This 170-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $45. It is available now. If you want to just grab the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $25. Do want to mention the hardcover book does not include a PDF, just so you know. So I thought that was kind of cool. I know this had a pretty successful crowdfunding run, and you 15 quick one-shot sessions and that. I'm kind of surprised, though, that it's all first-level characters, though. I would have thought they would have maybe had some pre-gen, a little higher-level characters, so it's not always just first-level characters with the first-level abilities for all 15 of these adventures. But still, kind of thought it was pretty interesting. All right, let's see. Chris Lundgren has popped into chat with us. Robert Santon is also hanging tonight. So, Walona's Cave says, Casey Neistat, taking a guess there, would call his 10-minute YouTube videos movies. So sure, The Gaming Gang is a TV show. DB said, Jeff's going Peter Finch and Network with this news piece. No, not really. Not really. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I want you to go to your window. I love that movie. That is an awesome movie. And I got to say, the first time I watched it as an adult, because I saw it when I was younger, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. But first time I saw it, in my 20s, the first thing that kind of hit me was, wow, William Holden's dropping F-bombs. I'm like, wow, I think this might be a first time I've seen that before. But yes, fantastic movie if you have not seen it. Roger Perdome says they're waiting for their copy of this. So supposedly they're supposed to receive them in July or August in Canada. Tessie Trekkie says they're liking the idea of setting out to have a series of total party kills. Womp, womp, womp. Sean O'Dell says there are no windows in the duct tape studios, only portals to adventure. Max Apocalypse is popping on in. The Blind Bard is joining us. This might be a first time visit in chat from the Blind Bard. The nickname's not ringing a bell, but I do apologize if you've popped on in before and I'm just not remembering you. But still, all right, let's move on to our next news piece, because currently up for crowdfunding for Troll Lord Games is the Castles and Crusades Adventurers Backpack. And here's what I know. First off, we've got the Adventurers Backpack, which has new layout matching the 3 core Castles and Crusades reforged books. So yes, this is a reforged crowdfunding project over on BackerKit. This includes 14 classes, each expanded to 24 levels, 34 ready-made backpacks for quick character building, new equipment, multi-classing rules with class and a half, dual classing with new class material. You got war dogs and guard dogs, counter spells, magic battles, alternate unarmed combat rules, rune magic, a player's guide to the plains, and that is just one of the many items that are part of this BackerKit project, because we'll also have Castles and Crusades Adventurers Companion Reforged, which has companions for all classes, as well as unique familiars for all classes. We've got a new book, I do believe it's new, and it's called Rune Spells, which will contain 200 new spells, as well as some additional information about runic magic, and a new adventure entitled Ahida's Keep. There's equipment cards and a lot more. There is, someone actually just mentioned this in chat, literally a backpack as part of the Adventurer's Backpack. So there is that. I think there's also a couple of notebooks, the kind that have almost like a fabric that flips over and you tie it closed. Of course, those are higher, pledge levels and such. So we'll just focus on the physical books, because you can reserve copies of all 4 of those for a BackerKit pledge of $99. If you want to just grab them in PDF, you can do so for a pledge of $37 through July 3rd. Now, I will point out, I couldn't find any info about an expected delivery, which is something I've mentioned this time and time again. I absolutely hate about BackerKit, because there are projects out there that you cannot see when it's supposed to fulfill. It's not there. The information is not there, as opposed to Kickstarter. A Kickstarter project has to give you that information about when they expect to deliver. Now, I'm not saying Troll Lord Games isn't going to deliver on this project. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying BackerKit kind of drives me nuts, because if I share a backer kit news piece, then I got to sit there and dig around and dig around. And more times than not, I never find a fulfillment date. But I am going to take a guess. We're probably looking at early next summer as far as things normally go with Troll Lord Games. Crowdfunding. Kevin King is with us in chat. Says they keep adding new stretch goals. It's doing better than they expected. They just stretch goaled the Warlock class. Yes, I think they were actually adding a new stretch goal every Monday or something like that. So we'll find out. We'll find out. I am going to mention something about Troll Lord Games after we wrap up the news. Viper Dave and Kathy Evans, as well as Matthew Constantine, who we have not seen in a while, are all in chat with us. Welcome to the 1200th live show here on the Gaming Gang channel. Sharon Donald says, on the user experience side, they keep thinking Backer Kit and GameFound are pretty far behind. Yeah, they're very similar in their lack of functionality, I guess I'll say. All right, moving right along. Right now, you can score huge savings on the second edition of Scarred Lands for 5e from Onyx Path Publishing over at Fanatical. And I've got the deets on the deal. A land where legends walk, drawing enthusiastically on Greek mythology, the revised and reimagined Scarred Lands nonetheless retains its place as a modern fantasy role-playing game setting. This is a world shaped by gods and monsters, and only the greatest of heroes can expect to be counted among them. The most populous continent of Skarn, Guildspad, plays host to vast unexplored regions, hides unsolved riddles from ancient cultures, and taunts adventurers with a promise of undiscovered riches hidden among the ruins of older civilizations. Yet the myths of these scarred lands are relatively recent events. The effects of the Titans' War still ripple through the world, and the heroines and villains of many of these stories are part of living memory, if not still living. Now, you can jump aboard for as little as $1.99, which is going to get you 3 PDFs, none of which are the player's guide, which is the core of the second edition of Scarred Lands. But you can also go all in for $14.99. You will get all 15 PDFs. I do believe it's everything that's currently out there for the second edition of Scarred Lands. In fact, it might even have some first edition Scarred Lands stuff. But it's important to keep in mind, this is for 5e, because with the second edition, they also did Pathfinder. And I think, I might be wrong, but I think the first edition of Scarred Lands kind of used Onyx Path Publishing's in-house system. I don't think it was the storyteller system. And I don't think it was World of Darkness. Maybe it was something along the lines of, oh, what is the one that's pretty popular? Scion. It took me a minute. I was like, hib. For a second, I sounded like Tweaky on Buck Rogers. Sean O'Donnell says they've heard of Scarred Lands for 5e a fair bit, being one of the more supported settings out there. Hard to get their players to try anything that isn't fleshed out some. Yeah, I could see that. So Sean O'Donnell says Story Path D10 is what the first edition utilized. Well, Tessie Trekkie says first edition was D20, wasn't it? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea. All right. So that's a pretty rocking deal, though. 15 PDFs, $15. Well, a penny less than $15. So I thought I would share the news. Now, this is a savings deal that's going to run for a while. I think it was showing like 59 days. So you got plenty of time to act. But still, once again, got to say, pretty rocking deal. I think it's $190 worth of PDFs, somewhere in that vicinity. On to our next news piece, because there is a historical horror role-playing game setting, which is also up on BackerKit. Now, this is for Vortex Verlag, and I've got the lowdown on Serenissima Obscura. Serenissima Obscura is a 400-page descent into Renaissance horror and hidden conspiracy. Half setting guide, half modular adventure. Serenissima Obscura plunges you into a fantastical reimagining of Venice in the year 1507, where gilded palaces mask decaying truths and ancient forces stir beneath the lagoon. It's a setting guide like no other. Explore the most enigmatic city in the world at the dawn of the magical Renaissance, an age when magic and non-human beings no longer hide in the shadows, but reveal themselves to the world, shattering old certainties and igniting political upheaval across Europe. This isn't just fantasy. It's the world on the edge of a new reality. 27 modular adventure arcs steeped in horror and investigation. Each tale is a standalone story of masks, monsters, and mystical dread. But when combined, they form a sprawling campaign of rituals, rebellions, and revelations that shake the foundations of Venice and beyond. You'll also be able to enhance your journey with powerful add-ons, because this is system agnostic. The core book itself is. You can also get the Magical Renaissance 5e Player's Guide with all new classes, species, and including the ones from the Straightway Lost. Guess that's an adventure by these folks, or an adventure that's part of a quick start, maybe. You also have the opportunity to pick up the Ars Magica Guide to Serenissima Obscura, which has full system support for that system itself, as well as saga-based campaigns. There are street maps and battle maps, large format, beautifully illustrated maps for navigating and fighting in shadowed Venice. Serenissima Obscura beckons you into a labyrinth of splendor and decay, where enchantment walks hand in hand with dread. And I'm not talking about Judge Dredd. There is a crowdfunding video. It's a little more than 3 minutes, so it's one of the longer crowdfunding, I almost said Kickstarter, crowdfunding videos that we've seen in a while. But let's give a peek.
Venice, a city of splendor, magnificent, powerful, unique, the most illustrious of cities in the magical Renaissance, the most industrious, the most serene, Serenissima. A city where every citizen, through the work of their hands or their minds, can partake in its glory and its wealth. A city, however, which has two faces, one shining brightly, the other wreathed in shadow. One that is the envy of the world, the other unknown to most, feared by some, inhabited by monsters human and otherwise. The shadow of Venice. Serenissima Obscura. Welcome, adventurers. Come and see the wonders of the Serenissima, and if you dare, take a step into the twilight. Investigate with cloak and dagger. Uncover the conspiracies of the mighty. Examine the workings of arcane forces barely understood. Unveil mysteries emerging from the depths of time. Enter a world made of shadow, where the carnival of the dead roams the streets and monsters lie in wait. Will you prevail or succumb to the horrors of the dark? Serenissima Obscura is, on the one hand, a massive setting guide for role-playing in our world of the magical Renaissance, and on the other hand, it offers a wealth of adventure modules which can be experienced individually or as part of an overarching grand adventure. Laid out for you are the history and society of Venice, and daily life in this most exceptional city on Earth. At your fingertips are scores of characters, both historical and imagined, and numerous factions arising from the upheavals caused by the emergence of magic in a world already in the grip of change. Make use of a wealth of adventure hooks and have your players explore the city with the help of beautiful and detailed street maps and descriptions of the 6 quarters of Venice. Or select one of the numerous settlets, our catch-all term for focused micro-settings and campaign frames. Have your players build and grow their own headquarters, their very own palazzo, with our hub construction rules. While written primarily for use with 5th edition rules with new classes and a new species, Serenissima Obscura is broadly system agnostic and can be played with any rule set. To facilitate this, we've included our own shorthand universal stats for you to easily adapt characters and monsters to your preferred game system. For fans of the recently relaunched Ars Magica, we will even be offering a separate conversion booklet for using Serenissima Obscura and the magical Renaissance setting in a variety of ways. Let us hand you the keys to the city. Come and see the world of the magical Renaissance. Come and play Serenissima Obscura.
The backer kit is fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the core hardcover with PDF for a €60 pledge. You can grab just the PDF for a €20 pledge through June 26th. Now, this is a backer kit that actually shares when they expect to deliver it. So that was a nice surprise. It is expected to arrive next April. Gotta say, this is pretty interesting looking. As, let's see, Matthew pointed out, the Straightway Lost was a campaign based upon the Divine Comedy. It was 5e, but really mostly system agnostic, as is this book, because I know we just saw Chris Lundgren asking, is this independent or its own system? It is system agnostic. And if you want, there's an additional add-on booklet, I think it is, for 5e, as well as another booklet for Ars Magica, or as I like to always call it, Ars Magica. I know that's not what it's titled, but still. Kevin R. Smith is joined us, as has Kevin Thorpe. Good to see you both. And Captain Finity Timey-Wimey-Limey is also popping on in. Says just when they thought they had every edition of Paranoia, they release another one. This one's been out about a year, 2 years, thereabouts. Lord Cos 2000 is also jumping on into chat. And our good friend of the show, the Madman, is with us, one of our chat moderators. See, I got right into the whole episode. Well, it's not episode, truly, it's not episode 1200 of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, because the live stream originally was called The Daily Dope. But this is the 1200th live show that I have hosted on YouTube. I forgot to say hello to the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D, if she's hanging out with us tonight. Howdy, howdy. Then again, I seem to recall she had mentioned she might be late getting here for tonight's show, so she might not be here yet. So there you go. Captain Finity says, as you can see, I'm living on the cutting edge of gaming releases. All right, let's wrap up with our final news piece, because Ironsworn Lodestar is now available in print and PDF. And here's the latest from Tompkins Press. Lodestar is a quick reference guide for the Ironsworn tabletop role-playing game. It includes the essential rules, moves, setting info, and oracle tables in a streamlined format for convenient reference during play. This 2025 expanded edition adds the much-requested key content from the Delve expansion, extra gameplay options, an array of new and updated Oracle tables, and more. It's everything you need to keep your story moving in a sleek, table-friendly 99 pages. You're going to find character creation and campaign setup walkthroughs, essential rules summaries, Ironsworn move references, Ironsworn Oracle tables, new Delve move references, as well as Oracle tables, and a vast array of new and updated random tables for story prompts, journey waypoints, settlements, characters, and much more. There's even a bonus move for one-roll journeys, random generator for character background events, and you'll get high-resolution illustrated maps of the Ironlands, or a map of the Ironlands, and an illustrated character sheet. Seems like it's pretty packed with goodness if you are a fan of Ironsworn. This 99-page PDF is pay what you want over at DriveThruRPG. It is also available in print, and it is kind of a pay what you want for the print editions. Although there are minimums that you must pay. You're not going to get a free hardcover or softcover from DriveThruRPG for free. But still, pretty low pricing, that I will tell you. So, if you're a fan of Ironsworn, this is probably something you're going to want to add to your collection. Shadow Down says they keep hearing Ironsworn is great solo. Yo Tong, I know I'm not even close with that, is joining us in chat. I believe it is a first-time visit for them, so welcome aboard. They mentioned, I had the first edition Paranoia, wish I had kept them. You and me both. I had it as well. Good old West End games. I had just about everything from the earlier years of West End games. When they got into that master book, I really wasn't picking up West End game stuff anymore. But early on, boy, I tell you. Relighter Gamers with us says, eggs or Lodestar? Lodestar. Well, remember, if you want just a PDF, it is pay what you want. And if you want to pay $0, it is all right with the creators. That's why they give you that pay what you want option. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. Even if it's not the correct site, once you go to, say, DriveThruRPG, there's a link you can jump on over to, say, Storyteller's Vault. Our affiliate code will follow you along. And of course, if you make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. So thank you very much. If you like the video, by all means, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, we've got a couple of ways that you can help support the channel. Well, I guess I should say outlet, because we got a website too that's very popular. So you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal. You know, maybe buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's cold. I mean, it's cold, but it's not like that cold. And big thanks to Roger Perdome and Robert Santon for making donations by way of PayPal very recently. And of course, then we also have our Patreon. So if you'd like to become a member of our Patreon, there is a link to that in the show notes. There's a link if you want to make a one-time donation through PayPal in the show notes. But as far as our Patreon members, want to say thank you to our $5 level members, Gustavo Cavallo, Jason Lawman, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Marius Smith, Max Apocalypse, Patrick Brault, RPG Munch, Sean O'Donnell, and Telzek. Tip of the caps to our $10 members, Dan Webb, The Game Cat, Pete Strakulich, Testy Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM. And of course, also big shout out to our $25 level members, Agile Monk and The Madman. Thank you very much, everyone. It is much appreciated. So, before we jump on into Paranoia, I mentioned during that Troll Lord Games news piece, I had something to share about Troll Lord Games. Sadly, I'm not going to be sharing coverage of them any longer. I mentioned this. I've been mentioning this, but I mentioned it again last night, that I reach out to them and they never get back to me. So in the past, I have asked, hey, what's going on with that starter set? Just like last night, some people in chat were like, hey, what's going on? How come I haven't gotten my starter set yet? When are they planning on releasing it? Well, I had previously checked in with them to see what was up with the starter set as well as their foundry. I have reached out and said, hey, you know, love to review more stuff. I've kind of reviewed everything that you've sent along. Nothing. No response whatsoever. And weirdly enough, I went and looked today. I have not received an email from anyone affiliated with Troll Lord Games this year. Seriously, none. I'm not even getting news from them. So I just had reached out. I've reached out in April. I reached out in May. Once again, nothing. Now, when I share a news piece, they'll actually share it on social media, and it'll be like, oh, thanks to Jeff McAleer at the Gaming Gang for sharing news about whatever. But they never get back to me on stuff. So I sent him an email today because this is not the first time that it's gone like complete radio silence with Troll Lord Games. And I feel like I'm trying to chase them around, even just to share news, right? Because the Adventurer's Backpack Kickstarter, I didn't even really know about until somebody had mentioned it in chat. And then it was mentioned again yesterday in chat because I had forgotten about it. And I don't know. It's weird. Relighter Gamer says, weird. Marketing seems to be a weak point to some companies. Well, the strange thing is they actually had brought a second person on. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, maybe it's possible they didn't care for my there is no woke mob, you know, destroying your favorite role-playing game video. I don't know. I have no idea, but strangely enough, which I haven't heard anything since 2024 from them. So in fact, I want to say it might have been November. Might have been around November or so. November, December was the last time I heard from somebody over there because if I remember correctly, they told me that the Foundry release was imminent. So I don't know. I have no idea. So there's some discussion about Paranoia and why it's called Paranoia. I got to be honest, that is something I do not know. I do not know. DB says, seriously, about the woke mob vid? They don't seem too stridently political. No, I don't think they are either. I'm just saying it's just weird that a company that, you got to admit, I've been really tight with Troll Lord Games. There are quite a few of you who are probably watching live right now who have picked up Troll Lord Games releases because you heard about Castles and Crusades by way of the Gaming Gang. So it's like, DB says the axe guy might drop you for that, but Troll Lord Games, funny enough, I don't think Alexander, is it Macri, something like that? I don't think he would drop me for that. I think because remember, I shared some coverage and a review of Adventure Conqueror King's system in the past. And I did have some people give me shit. But, my response to that is, hey, you know what? I share a lot of coverage of games that are created by people who are way to the left of like where I stand. And I'm a Democrat, right? But I also, I'll share stuff from people whose political beliefs are completely different than mine. I'm not here to police the hobby. And, yes, I understand there's things that people have said or people have associated with other people. Hey, as long as no one's getting hurt, then it's like, okay, just like, I don't want to get off on it, jump up on a soapbox here because we got things to do. But, it's words. And sadly, people have gotten away from understanding that words cannot harm you, right? So it's like, anyway. Okay, so Captain Infinity has theory 1. It's the clones being paranoid, being found out being subversives. Theory 2, it's the computer that's paranoid. I would take a guess. Maybe it's the computer being paranoid. Could be. Very, very much could be. Shondal says that Amazing Adventures review did annoy Jason. That was the 10th of December. Yeah, the only reason that Sean has Castles and Crusades is because of the gaming gang. Yeah, but if I remember right, I think what did I give it, like a 6? Come on, let's be honest, man. It's no Castles and Crusades. It's, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of comparing Mutant Crawl Classics to Dungeon Crawl Classics, the core books. That's what it sort of reminded me of. So, I don't know. Shondal says he thinks you didn't read any of it. Have no idea. Have no idea why he would think that. Because I disagree with, or I just didn't think it was that big. You know what my issue was it wasn't as big of a, genre agnostic as it was supposed to be. So, Spilling Mistake says ghosting because of a mid but honest review is bad form. Yeah, I would think so too. Most people can take a review that's not, it's a 10 out of 10, right? I'm sure folks at Chaosium, I've done some reviews that they were sort of like, oh, damn. But you know what? A lot of times, a lot of these publishers also understand that they had to rush something out the door. Maybe they're not as happy with the finished product as they would like to have been. But it's sort of like, we got to get this out. So, I don't know. Anyway, Showdown says, we don't know that's why they haven't contacted the gaming gang, but that's the closest event they could think of. Yeah, maybe, well, that's possible. I don't know. The funny thing is, the email I sent, I said, don't bother responding to this because you haven't responded to any of my other emails. So, I'm not mad. It's just, there's way, way more companies out there who would love to get that kind of exposure from the outlet. And of course, spending time with, other releases takes time away from the possibility other companies would get. I don't know. Raven's with us in chat, as is Little Britain. So welcome aboard. Sean Donald says, yeah, Order of the Stone did not get a stellar review. There were a couple of recent releases from Chaosium Inc. that just didn't do it for me. And I thought they came across as being rushed. I would take a wild guess. I would say Sons of the Singularity probably aren't overly thrilled with my review of the Sutra of Pale Leaves, even though I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I pointed out I'm probably not the right keeper for running something like that. And I shared what my issues were. So, Relighter Gamer says, nobody likes silent treatment, Jeff, especially with no explanation. I feel for you. Yeah, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's okay. But like I said, this is something that's happened multiple times in the past where suddenly it's just nothing for months. In fact, funny enough, and then we'll move on. There's a company that's kickstarting a Brazilian edition of Castles and Crusades. And they contacted me to ask if it was like, if it was all right if they utilized my Why You Should Play Castles and Crusades video for their project. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can embed it. Go ahead. I think it's the only English language video they've got. I thought that was kind of wild. So, Scenes by Onyx says, can't wait for the new Dragonbane books. I know, pretty nice. It's going to be a while. Kickstarter, I think it's still running, or maybe it just wrapped. All right, so many of you are hanging out watching live because there's giveaways tonight. So rather than sitting here and doing trivia or anything like that, I'm going to make it super easy for you. If you are watching live and you have taken part in chat, or you take part in chat at some point through the rest of this video, comment on the video. I mean, you don't have to write a novella, but don't write like, this is a comment. Have some purpose to it. Be a subscriber. That's a given. Got to be a subscriber. And hopefully you give the video a thumbs up. What I will do tomorrow, once YouTube has completely rendered everything and chat is available, because for the first 12, 18 hours, the chat's not up. The video has to be completely rendered. Anyway, so if you do all those things, send an email to Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. It's important that you remember it's thegaminggang.com. It's not Gaming Gang, it's The Gaming Gang. And let me know your nickname on YouTube. Use your Gmail account that's tied into your YouTube account. And tell me which of these starter sets in PDF you would like. Your choices are the RuneQuest starter set from Chaosium Inc., the Call of Cthulhu starter set from Chaosium Inc., the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition starter set from Cubicle 7 Games, or the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Age of Sigmar Soulbound starter set, also from Cubicle 7 Games, the Symborim starter set from Free League Publishing, or the One Ring starter set, also from Free League Publishing. I will give away your choice to every single person who sends me the email, as long as you're a subscriber, you took part in chat, I can't tell if you give a thumbs up to the video, but do me a favor, right? Do me a favor and do that. and that you left some sort of hopefully positive comment on the video. Pretty easy, pretty easy. Now, if you are watching after the fact, if you watch on Memorex, stay tuned to the end. I will have a special offer for you folks because there are a lot of people out there who, because of time differences, just don't have an opportunity to watch the show live, but they happen to watch the dispatch a lot. So I don't want to leave them out. Okay, so tonight we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a first look at Paranoia, the core book from Mongoose Publishing. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
This man is carrying a secret weapon. It's called 007. There are plenty of safer aftershaves to wear. New 007 is for volunteers only. Once you've used it, there's no turning back. Its subtle, masculine aroma makes any man dangerous. Even nice girls invent the wildest excuses just to meet you. But if you get into trouble, you're on your own. We won't even admit we sold it to you. If you still think you're cut out for this kind of living, get 007. For special assignments, you'll need the full line, including 007 shave cream, hair tonic, and spray deodorant. That's 007 for the license to kill women.
When you use 007, be kind.
You win a new car or a case of Wilkins Instant Coffee.
I'll take the Wilkins coffee.
We'll never get rid of that car.
Horrors of Spider Island. 8 beautiful girls and one lone man struggling for survival, with death, sudden, violent, and horrible, lurking in the shadows. Horrors of Spider Island.
Out of the night came a fate worse than death. A man's mind twisted, his brain poisoned, with an uncontrollable lust to kill.
Horrors of Spider Island.
A tale of terror that will leave you limp. So hideous and shocking, you won't believe your eyes. His hunger for victims was never satisfied. Prepare to be frightened out of your wits by the
Horrors of
Island.
Terrifying. That looks awful. That is all. It is supposed to be one of the worst horror movies ever made. I just bring you guys the best. Nothing too good for the gang, right? So, a few more folks have popped on into chat. So, Don Archer is with us for the first time. Welcome aboard. No Limelight Productions is also with us. I think they had commented, yes, I wish you would review PDFs as well. A lot of good games that aren't in physical form. We do review PDFs at the Gaming Gang. I just don't do it. So Sammy Uhas does many of like the Pathfinder, Starfinder. She does the Soulbound reviews and things like that. But yes, I do have at least one correspondent who will tackle PDFs. So just so you know that. I don't do it because I find videos that just have PDFs, they look boring. And at least because I don't script stuff. So when I'm flipping through a book, it's just, conversational. It's just kind of almost like stream of consciousness. Whereas if I were doing a PDF, then I'm going to have to sit there and script everything out and so on and so forth. Belgian, I'm not even going to try on that last name, is with us. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Game Master's Hobby is with us. And Toon Jarowich. I think that was the last person to pop on in. There you go. All right. Cool deal. Very nice. Very nice. Pretty pieces. Makeup budget, $10. Yeah, pretty much. All right, so tonight we're going to dive on in and take a first look at Paranoia, the core book from Mongoose Publishing. This 144-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the core book for Paranoia. So a few things we'll mention before we jump on in. Well, a couple of things really. First of all, the fine folks over at Mongoose Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page, but I want to get a good feel for what's in here. I have not looked at Paranoia since the first edition, so I couldn't even tell you what mechanics this uses. I'm pretty certain it's not going to utilize the 2d6 mechanics of Traveler. So I kind of have a feeling maybe it's percentile based. I don't know. We're going to find out. We are going to find out. All right, let's take a look at the back here. Many role-playing games have rules that are, many role-playing games have rules that are applied objectively, so players can help each other do heroic things like saving yet another kingdom, fighting more orcs, or something else that's been done repeatedly in other RPGs. That is not this game. This is the Paranoia role-playing game. This is one of those rule books that's fun to read and even more fun to play. Paranoia does not take itself seriously, so we can find dark humor in bureaucracy, politics, businesses, and a lot more. No sacred cows, but one. Make sure the GM and players are all having a great time. Is that not refreshing for a role-playing game? Maybe that is why this science fiction RPG has won lots of awards over the years. Stay alert, trust no one, Keep your laser handy. First thing we'll do is take a peek at the credits page. Oops, it's right there. So it says, written and designed by W.J. McGuffin and Keith Garrett. Why do I think that's a pen name for W.J. McGuffin? Well, I wonder. Justin is with us in chat, as is William Helhesias. Thought I saw, oh, there we go. Dark Autumn Scribe is also with us in chat. We got a lot of folks hanging with us in chat tonight. So there you go. So that is a peek at the credits page. I do like the artwork that I have seen for Paranoia, because I've shared a lot of various different news pieces for releases for this edition. I got to be honest, I'm not sure what they call this edition of Paranoia. Maybe it's just Paranoia, because I know we've had the Perfect Edition. Of course, we had the first edition. We had another one that had kind of a, what was it? Red Clearance Edition, something like that. I think this was the first edition. No, I take that back. I was going to say, I think this was the first edition with Mongoose, but that's not right. They've had Paranoia for a bit. What is the Paranoia role-playing game? Ding! Attention, citizen. Welcome to the first of your 6 lives here in Alpha Complex. I am your best friend, the computer. Do not worry. I am here to protect you, educate you, and help you stay loyal. This will make you happy and productive, as cases of severe anxiety and PTSD have dropped considerably. You've been decanted from your clone tank and are ready to serve. How may I help you be successful? Okay, I get it. One of those in-setting intros to set the right tone. Now, I've heard about this Paranoia game before. People say crazy things about it, like killing other PCs is good, clean fun, or the Game Master is out to get you. Convention games sell out super quickly. It's even a Hall of Fame RPG. How do I play it? What are the rules? Thank you for asking, citizen. Okay, so I'm digging the approach here so far. Some amount of curiosity can be healthy. What is your security clearance? Yes, because everybody has a security clearance. So, I was going to say, either the pages weren't cut. I think they were just stuck together a little bit. Anyway, I was going to say, everybody's got a security clearance. There's, because from my memory right now, that we're going back to first edition of Paranoia. You're looking at, all the player characters are clones, and they all have their own secret objectives. And of course, the computer is always watching them, and it's a very kind of weird, kind of 1984-ish vibe to the proceedings, but it also does not take itself seriously. So Keith Lewis says, I liked making up names for Paranoia characters. I always wanted to play a troubleshooter named Clust RFUC. Yeah, like I never drop F-bombs, right? Mark Hawkswell is with us tonight. Welcome. Good to see you once again. So there's a content warning. Dun, dun, dun. So just saying, it's a darkly humorous game. All right, here we go. We got the rules of the game. Looks like we're going to start off with kind of an example of play. Paranoia rules. Number 1, you are in charge. Change or delete any rule below as you see fit during a game session. Other than not fun RPGs force game masters to play fair, this is a fun RPG. Number 2, with great power comes great responsibility. Number 3, Because Paranoia is such a different game, some players can get genuinely upset over wild rule changes, total party kills, and other Paranoia tropes. Again, you are in charge and should do whatever is needed in the moment, but view this authority as a tool to improve games, not as your personal weapon. Be unfair, but be unfair fairly. So right away, I do get the feeling that this is not aimed at being a player-facing book at all. Because right off the bat, in the early pages, it is addressing the game master. So troubleshooting, yes, the player characters are troubleshooters. Mission objectives, secret objectives. Alpha Complex is rife with illegal secret societies. And boy, do they love infiltrating troubleshooter teams. They typically get notified of pending troubleshooter missions so they can make sure one of their own gets on the team. Then they give that troubleshooter a secret objective. Like the mission ones before, this is simply a task the troubleshooter must complete for their secret society. Achieving this secret objective means the troubleshooter wins 200 experience points and plus 2 moxie. Not achieving it means negative 100 XP and minus 2 moxie. Or quietly taking them out back to get shot. Minus 1 clone. Freelighter Gamer says, be cruel, but don't smile. William said, some ugly clones. So we got a public side and the naughty side of our character sheets. So you got the side that everybody can see and the side that they should not. So here we go. Here we've got the public side. And then we've got the naughty side. So we've got brains, chutzpah, mechanics, violence, wounds, flags, loyal, gray-listed, restricted, citizen of interest, wanted, your experience points and your moxie. So underneath each of these attributes is going to be some skills like Alpha Complex, bluff, operate, guns. So here's our character creation walkthrough. Create some personality identifiable information. So it's a pie. Set skills and stats. Focus on naughty stuff. Wow, wow. Finish up already. Those are our steps. So we've got service groups, secret societies, having mutant power, violence button. I guess it's something that makes you see red. Treason button ideas. So character improvement so you can get upgrade points. So are we going to start getting into the actual rules of play? Okay. So this is how you essentially resolve actions here. Player explains how they want their troubleshooter to do the thing. Reward crazy, entertaining actions and scoff loudly at anything boring or worse, sensible. Keith Ulu says, like the Eazy-E album that had a radio side and a street side. GM sets difficulty or the number of successes needed to do the thing. The GM can share this info or jealously hoard it so they can make up any result and the players will never realize it. GM picks a stat and skill that's either most relevant to doing the thing or the worst possible combination. So the player gives you a ton of side eye. This number is the player's node, which is how many dice they get to roll to do the thing. Well, this mechanically is feeling rather similar to Outgunned, which I just reviewed. Now, of course, yes, I get it. This came first. I'm not trying to, insinuate anybody's lifting anything from anybody else. Player adds any dice from equipment and 1 computer dice. So the equipment gives a number of dice equal to their level. So level 3 is 3 extra dice. So they roll and count any dice showing a 5 or a 6 as a success, which of course is quite different than Outgunned, but still it is a dice pool system. So there we go. You can spend Moxie to mess with the results. Once the dice have been cast, GMs must ask the players if anyone wants to change successful dice into failures or the other way around. Players can spend 1 to 5 Moxie to change that many dice. The rolling player gets to do this too. Nice. Okay. Moxie is a metacurrency, meaning they are points given by game masters to reward players, not characters, doing fun and interesting things. While it represents a troubleshooter's stress levels, think of each point as a spoon in spoon theory, its real purpose is to let players commit more treason. All troubleshooters start a game session, not necessarily a missions start. With 8 Moxie, these can be spent to commit some delicious treason. Tasty. So we got info about earning Moxie, spending Moxie. It's like, is this combat we're getting into? Yep, attacking. Once again, stat and skill combination. Only way to really defend against an attack is to go before the attacker, because there is no defense quite as effective as killing the bastards before they can even aim. That's why going earlier in initiative is so useful. Armor takes away successes 1 per level to decrease damage or even block the attack. And because we know your players will ask, they cannot dodge a laser without moving faster than light. So good luck with that. Chris Leonard is asking, is this core rulebook the same as the boxed edition? I do not know. I'll be the first to tell you. I don't know. Captain Infinity says, you copied your mechanics from another system. That's Paranoia. Exactly. Sarah D has popped on in to join us. Very nice. Had a union meeting, if I remember correctly. So looks like we're getting like an ad. So we got our equipment. Looks like a blaster rifle there. I am very intrigued to check this out. Like I said previously, I had the first edition of Paranoia, and I used to pick up the adventures and the supplements that would come out because that's what I did. I would buy a lot of role-playing game stuff, not run it, but simply read it and enjoy it because I had disposable income at that point. And of course, as a game master, you're always looking to crib stuff, even if you don't necessarily run the game. But I always enjoyed reading the adventures. What I would hear from people who did play or run Paranoia was a lot of times the adventures were more entertaining to read than to actually play or run. Once again, can't tell you if that was true or not because I never played it, never ran it. So chapter 3 gives us info about the Alpha Complex, talking about security clearances, various sectors and subsectors, transportation. This is also a very catch-22 sort of role-playing game. It's got quite a bit of, even though he's not the author of Catch-22, I think it's got a little bit of a Kurt Vonnegut sort of vibe to it, or at least, the first edition sort of did. even though it was a British role-playing game, still is from a British company. So top 5 list for Alpha Complex, top 5 armed forces parades in Alpha Complex. So Yo Tong, once again, I know I'm nowhere close, said they had thousands of dollars worth of role-playing games, justify it as research, as they wanted to be a computer game developer. Sweet. I was just blowing money on games. So it's like, okay. That's how I read all the stuff for like Vampire the Masquerade in the early years. Deadlands, that was another one I would pick up. Pretty much anything that came out for, obviously enough. Call of Cthulhu. Talking about lifting copyright there. DB says, I also have thousands of dollars worth of games, and I call it research because I want to be a game player. Relighter Gamer says, it was practice for this show, Jeff. Yes, for this TV show. For those of you who've been watching since the beginning, this is a TV show. Service groups and favors. I gotta say, I think this is like fresh off the printer here, because some of these pages have that kind of freshly minted stickiness to them. So it looks like these are just some of the different groups. We've got our secret societies. So we got like anti-mutant, communists, First Church of Christ computer programmer, Purge. Society and leaders are beyond redemption, so the only way to regain our freedom is to destroy the computer and all of Alpha Complex and start over again. If everyone has that night off. Harvey Lighter Gamer says Jeff equals TV star. Yeah, okay. Max Apocalypse says, in the 90s, we got short pieces of fiction in our RPG books, whether we wanted them or not. You still get some. Still get some with some games. All right. Creating, okay, so we're going to get into missions. It looks like we got a little bit of a running kind of example of play for each of these chapters. So talking about mission structure, it says troubleshooter missions all have the same structure. However, you cannot run just a structure for your players. If you want to create your own missions, which you should totally do, it's great fun. Here are some specific suggestions for each piece of the structure, and then some tips on creating good plots. Mission alert, briefing, mandatory bonus duties, outfitting, the mission. Here it is. This is the actual adventure the troubleshooters will be sent on. Debriefing. Mission officially ends when either 1, they meet the mission objective, or 2, they screwed up so badly that meeting the mission objective is now impossible. If just implausible, send them back in the field. So we got mission plots. One thing I remember with the first edition of Paranoia was almost, because this was kind of a thing at that point in time in role-playing games, the meta plot. If I remember correctly, later adventure supplements kind of followed a meta plot. Then again, I could be misremembering that completely. So is this an adventure here? I wonder. Yes, it is. It's a mission. So, Arbitrary Justice, a Paranoia mission for 1 GM and 3 to 6 players. Hopefully there are also 3 to 6 troubleshooters, but that is your business. So this should take a couple of hours. Wonder if we've got a few of these in here. But something else that I remember in first edition Paranoia was a good amount of kind of satire as far as some established science fiction movies. Logan's Run, if I remember correctly, got picked on pretty quickly. So I think those might be pre-gens or NPCs. So we have the GM sheets. And then we have the appendix, not a chapter. You still get more of that example of play, though. Red clearance edition, that's what I was trying to remember. That was the previous edition to this. And then I think there was a perfect edition. I think this is like the 6th or 7th edition of Paranoia. Converting RCE content to the new Paranoia, because Paranoia is closer to Red Clearance Edition, a revision, than a brand new replacement. It's relatively easy to use RCE content with the new Paranoia. GMs can always just wing it, especially since the players cannot complain about rules without having to roll up a new character. But for those who want a little more structure, here's how to convert it to the new Paranoia, which actually had cards to it. Here's rules and setting cheat sheets. Hey, here we go. Appendix N for Paranoia. First movie out the gate. Logan's Run. So we also have THX 1138, 1984. Of course, Brazil, yes. And Brave New World. Other inspirations. Better Off Ted, Cash and Guns, Catch-22, yeah. The Death of Stalin, that's actually a pretty good movie. I saw that not too long ago. Ghostbusters, Idiocracy, Judge Dredd, book, video, game, all of it. Portal 1 and 2, Snowpiercer. I gotta watch that one of these days. The film. Yeah, maybe even the series too. And then Werewolf and Mafia. So Werewolf is, oh, okay, yeah. I get it. So the werewolf they're talking about is like One Night Werewolf. Like the Bezier Games, I think, does a box set for it, where it's just basically you have a bunch of people, you have a party, and one person is the werewolf, and the other group, the rest of the people in the party are just like villagers. And then you're supposed to be in a room where you can turn out the lights, and then lights get turned off, and then whoever's the werewolf taps one of the villagers, and that villager is now a werewolf too. And the whole thing is each round you're going to be looking at trying to figure out who the werewolves are. And if a werewolf is a werewolf and you kill them, great. But it is also possible that the werewolves are trying to throw the other, villagers under the bus and make people think that they're werewolves. All right. So that was a peek inside Paranoia, the core book from Mongoose Publishing. I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. Sean O'Donnell says Jeff needs his Chris Evans fix. Isn't he in a new movie too? I don't know why I would need a Chris Evans fix, but because of Snowpiercer? Yes. Kevin King says core concept for this version seems the same. Modernized mechanics, art, and layout. Yeah, I would think the core driving point of Paranoia really has not changed since it originally came out. Although something I think probably plagues Paranoia more so than other role-playing games is because it does tend to be very satirical. That something that was a meme at the time can fall out of any relevancy pretty easily. So 5-10 years down the line, it's sort of like, really? So, all righty then. So if you tuned in late, I do want to let you know how you can score a celebratory PDF of the starter set of your choice from the ones I'm going to give you an option from. So what you got to do is got to be a subscriber to the channel. Also have to comment on this video. It doesn't have to be a novella, but yeah, make it something appropriate, right? This is live stream 1200. That's why, hey, we're celebrating. So you got that. Hopefully you'll give the video a thumbs up. And all you got to do then is email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com from your Gmail account that's associated with your YouTube account. Tell me what your nickname is and tell me your choice of the following: RuneQuest starter set from Chaosium Inc., Call of Cthulhu starter set, also Chaosium Inc., Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay starter set, Cubicle 7 Games, also the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Age of Sigmar Soulbound starter set, C7 as well. Or you can go with the Symborum starter set from Free League Publishing. And lastly, we've got the One Ring starter set in PDF. That's also from Free League Publishing. So all those things pretty easy. It'll score you a copy of a starter set in PDF of your choice. So if you happen to be someone who watches the show on Memorex, I do not want to leave you out in the cold, but I am going to point out you must be a subscriber to the channel now as I'm streaming this in order to take advantage of this, because otherwise people are going to be like, oh, dude, you can get a free PDF. No. So if you are already a subscriber and you happen to watch after the fact, kind of the same deal. What you need to do is comment on the video, be a subscriber already, and then shoot me that email. And same thing. You can pick one of those starter sets in PDF. You have to give me about 18 hours before I start doing this, because I have to go and take a look at chat, because those who are watching live had to take part in chat and be a subscriber and whatever, the rest, in order to take advantage of this. Warren Rawlings is with us in chat. He only shows up when we're giving stuff away. You ever notice that, gang? I'm just joking. Sean O'Donnell has just shared the list once again in chat. Christian Olay is with us once again. I think I'm close on that last name. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to be giving away a lot of PDF starter sets. I'll tell you that much. But as I was saying, got to give me about 18 hours, because that's once YouTube completely renders the video, chat is available. The chat replay is available. Prior to that, it is not. So for those of you who are watching live right now, I won't be, there's some of you who I'm like, yeah, I know you were in chat, but there may be some folks out there who just said, hey, hi, everybody. And I just missed them. So there you go. Scenes by Omnic is asking, can anyone write out the email to copy paste? Yeah, I mean, should be somebody out there who can do that. So that is it for live stream number 1200 here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. I think this is actually like episode 7 something of the Dispatch, because the first live stream I did was called The Daily Dope. So, and then I changed the title of it. Anyway, no live stream tomorrow, just to let you know, because I don't want to steal the thunder of this 1200th episode. So I will be back on Tuesday. Not sure what we're going to tackle. There are some items that are supposed to be in transit. So I will be taking a peek at those. So don't worry, we'll have something to do. All right. No Limelight Production says, no live stream, how dare you? Yes, if you're curious, when did I start live streaming? I did a test stream, so it doesn't count. Although I think that is on the channel. December 1st, 2017. So yeah, I've been doing these live streams for quite some time now. I went and took a peek and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can't believe it. Because I'm thinking, oh, what was it? Like, I don't know. Because I knew it was December. I thought it was December or January. And I was like, yeah, I think it was like 2000. I'm like, nope, not the case. So Madman says they're not going to be hanging around for a while. Well, enjoy your trip. Have a very safe trip. And enjoy visiting your parents. And have fun at the wedding that you're hitting up. Nice. So we'll get to talk shit about the Madman while he's gone. We won't do that. Okay. Shonell says, still sucks. We can't look at Foundry stuff. Well, you can look at Foundry stuff all you want. Doesn't matter. Okay, gang. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, bigger thank you. Plus, you're going to get a freebie out of that. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very kindly for taking time out over all of these years to watch any of the videos that are here on the Gaming Gang channel. Truly, truly, I really do appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who take time out to hang out during the live streams or check out the reviews and so forth on the channel. Really does mean a lot. Thank you much. Of course, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I will have some other videos popping up. So just because I don't have a live stream for tomorrow does not mean that you're not going to see any new videos until next week. In fact, I will be sharing my video of the review of the Traveler core book. So stay tuned for that. That will be up probably on Monday. I have something else I will probably be sharing on Friday. Yes. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, well, for one, it's not going to get you that free PDF now, is it? But if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. I'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Call of Cthulhu, the Pale... Ooh, see, I messed it up. The Sutra of Pale Leaves, Twin Suns Rising from Sons of the Singularity and Chaosium Inc. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. I can't guarantee there's going to be 1,200 more live streams, but I will be back on Tuesday. Thank you very kindly. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as I like to always end the show, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.